Hi everyone, welcome to Cheltenham Chat episode 13. Today we'll talk about some very high profile runners who ran this week. After that we'll talk about why I feel certain races may be decent each way bets for Cheltenham Festival and why some other races are not good each way betting races for the Cheltenham Festival in my opinion. And then we'll talk about one horse who I looked at this week from another podcast who I was going to put up as a bet, but I'm not sure enough about participating to put it up as a bet, but I will tell you what it was. And I have had a few quid on it myself. So getting on to the horses who ran last week. A couple that ran last week were very high profile, but before I get on to them, we'll just talk about Sporting John winning the Pertemps qualifier at Warwick. I'm not sure this is going to have done his mark too much good for the final, and you'd be more likely to find the winner probably in behind and possibly the Jam Man or Sir de Burley. But I do think the British horses are going to have a bit of more stay in the handicaps this season, and I'd be looking at the Pertemps a bit closer to the time rather than now. I did hope to see Gelino Bello running a better race than he did to boost Blazing Carl's form. He was okay, he was in the mix but not really close to winning, but he didn't really enhance Blazing Carl's form that much, but it was a race I was really interested in. The two big runners this week, and I'll talk about Bob Olinger first, because I did worry about Bob Olinger today with the form of the de Bromhead yard. He'd had two high profile defeats yesterday. I didn't like the run of Gilly Billy either in the Moscow Flyer, and I was feeling worse for Bob Olinger, especially as it came to the home turn and he had a couple of slaps down the neck from Rachel Blackmore, but he really picked up in the straight and went away and won really nicely in the style of a really good horse. His jumping was adequate. It wasn't brilliant, but it was fine, and he won nicely. And I think that probably cements the fact that now Galopin des Champs will go to the Festival Novice Chase, and so Bob Olinger looks to be in against a bit like the Malin second string in Hot on Colours, Jungle Boogie, etc. But he probably won't face Galopin des Champs. I think Bob Olinger is now going to be a rightful favourite, and hopefully if Henry's horses come into better form, we may even see an even better Bob Olinger at the festival. But he was very good today and he's a rightful 6-4 favourite. The other horse to win today caused a lot of confusion in the betting markets, with Dysart Dynamo being just about favourite for the Ballymore before this race, but looking more like a supreme horse in the win. Willie Mullins and Nicky Henderson have boxed themselves into a bit of a cul-de-sac here. John Bonds won a grade 2 over 2 miles. Constitution Hills won a grade 1 over 2 miles. Now Dysart Dynamo's won a grade 1 over 2 miles. And we're going to have Sir Gerhard coming out at the Dublin Racing Festival in a grade 1 over 2 miles. And everyone thinks these horses are going to be split up. But the last 10 winners of the Ballymore have all won over 2 miles 4. And none of these horses have been tested over 2 miles 4. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the two trainers do. Perhaps Sir Gerhard won't win and Willie Mullins won't really need to worry about that. But it really does look like both of them may have to run two of their serious big guns in a real shootout in the Supreme. Dysart Dynamo was really quick on the clock, seemed to burn them off early. I did see some people saying that he wasn't so quick from 3 out. He didn't need to be, because he'd won this race after about 1 mile and 3 furlongs. The rest of the horses were absolutely out on their feet. He'd run them into the ground. Like I said, Gilly Billy didn't run a very good race, but Gringo de Brel was never catching him from a long way out. His own stablemate really ran a poor race. He was too free and hit about the third hurdle, and that was the end of his race. But Dysart Dynamo had them cooked from a long way, and his overall time was 11 seconds faster than the two maiden hurdles, which is around 40 lengths, so he was good. the race perhaps fell apart a little bit. But this is a Grade 1. He's won it in really good style, and for me, I would not want to be going up and trip with this horse. Now that's just purely my opinion, and that's all I can give in these videos, but I wouldn't want to go up and trip with him because I felt he was a little bit free. He's untested over 2 miles 5, and once you're going up into that trip, you really have to stay the distance, especially against the sort of horses that you could be in against in that race. And I feel these trainers really have boxed themselves into quite a... I don't know how they feel they're going to get out of this now, because they're all winning graded races over 2 miles, and all of a sudden they either race against each other, or you're open to a lot of criticism if you put the horse up to 2 miles 5 and he's beaten, you know, for lack of stamina, because you don't know if they're going to stay or not. It's a real quandary for both trainers now, should all 4 run in this race. But of course that assumes that Sir Gerhard wins the 2 mile race at the Dublin Fest. If he doesn't, then obviously Dysart Dynamo will be the only dart for Willie Mullins. I was extremely impressed. The bad thing for me is I was really impressed when John Bunn won the Kennel Gate. Then I was impressed with Constitution Hill in the Tolworth. And now I'm impressed with Dysart Dynamo in this race, the Moscow Flyer. So I don't really know which horse I would want to be on, but I certainly wouldn't want to be another horse coming into this race. I did look at 3 Stripe Life as a 25-1 shot who I thought I may want to back, but when you see these 3 top horses already in the mix, it would take a good performance from anything at the Dublin Racing Festival to make you think that all 3 could be beaten in the Supreme. So those were the runners that I felt were interesting over the week, and now I'm going to get on to why I feel certain races are better each way betting races than others at the Cheltenham Festival, and the one horse that I backed last week, but the one that I thought about putting up as a bet. After suggestions on what I could put up as content for the videos while the racing was poorer, I started looking at the Champion Hurdle and the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and the one thing that immediately struck me was I don't think I'd want to bet each way on the Champion Hurdle, because I'm not so sure that Honeysuckle's going to be able to be beaten. I know I've said the Bromhead's in bad form, but really, do I think Honeysuckle will be beaten? And frankly, I don't. So, if I think Honeysuckle's going to win, and I'm backing each way anything in this race, I'm looking at 2 places, and I don't think my win stake's going to achieve anything. So, taking Saint Roy as a bit of a wise guy's horse, who, just as an example now, he's 25-1. If you put a point each way on him at 25-1, and you don't think he's going to win, but you think he's a good each way bet, you're betting 2 points on the horse to return 6 if he gets a place, because you don't think he's going to beat Honeysuckle. So you're playing on the 5-1, the place market, having almost gifted your 1 point stake on the win away, and he's got to beat Sharjah, Epatante, Zana here, Adagio, and all these type of horses for the 2 places that are available to make you get a return. So I would say a lot of these races where you think the favourite is not beatable, then they're not each way races as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't be backing each way in the Champion Hurdle at the moment, unless I thought Honeysuckle was going to be beaten. I wouldn't be backing against her. I wouldn't back against Fernie Hollow. I probably wouldn't back against Bob Olinger. I wouldn't back against Shiskin and Energamine. So there are a lot of races where you're taking away the each way angle from the race. That's my opinion. People may want to play for those 2 places, but for me, if I don't think the favourite can be beaten, then it's not a bet. As far as I'm concerned, I put an each way bet on, fairly hopeful that the horse will win. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get a place. But if I don't think I could have any chance of getting the win, then it's not an each way bet, and you'd be as well waiting to the day, putting on a place bet, or without favourite bet, or just looking for the extra places. There really is no point in an anti-post bet at a 50 odds if you don't think you can win the race. And that's why I think the Cheltenham Gold Cup gives you a lot more possibilities, because there's no doubt that a Plutard is beatable. He was beaten by Galvin already this season. Manila Endo's beaten him this season. And you look at that race and you do see horses who you think, well, perhaps that's an each way stab. I still wonder if Allaho could win a Gold Cup this season. And I did wonder when Henry was in poor form if they would send Allaho to the Gold Cup. But De Bromhead's form is up and down really badly at the moment. Like I said, he had 2 short favourites beaten yesterday, but then he's had Bob Olinger Bolton. So you just don't know, is only some of the horses affected in his yard, or what really is going on there. So the final thing I want to talk about today is a horse who I saw on the Understarters Orders podcast, and I did think it was a good angle for the horse. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people have their own horse for the Mareers Novice, and there'll probably be a lot of the Malins horses like Brandy Love, Grand G, Allegory, Devasi, Dino Blue, etc., who are beating maidens really easily. But I did hear a very good argument going up for Gavin Cromwell's handicapper, Bride's Hill. She won a handicap at Leopardstown on the 27th of December. And when I watched the race back, I was really impressed with how she'd won. I was impressed on the day. I didn't realise it was a filly that won, well, a mare that won the race, and I didn't realise that she would still be eligible for the Mare's Novice. Now, she's won the race by 7.5 lengths in a handicap of 121 and been put up to 135. 135, if she can run to that mark and be competitive, would really get her in amongst some of these mares that are winning these maidens. But what was impressive about her win was she won from the front, she won really easily, and her time from two out to the line was quicker than Mighty Potter, who won the Grade 1. Now, obviously Mighty Potter was quicker overall in the race by 2 seconds, but she was 2 seconds quicker than him from the second last, which equates to 6 lengths. I think this was a decent performance from her, and Gavin Cromwell's got form for taking horses through handicaps and winning the Stayers last season with Florine Porter. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could be doing the same with Bride's Hill. It takes a bit of a leap of faith, but she's 25 to 1. And I had a few quid. I did think about putting her up as a bet, but I couldn't really be sure she was definitely going to go here. And I'm certainly not putting bets on the videos that I'm not sure about this season. Although it would be a bit of a gamble, I just don't want to take those sort of risks. I did it last season with Gentleman's Game, Dame de Company, Dickie Diver, etc. And it didn't work out, and I'm not going to do it again this season. But that's the horse that I did back this week. I hope to find bets soon. It really is getting to that stage now where I do have to start really searching for bets. We've still only got Tell Me Something Girl at 14 to 1, £30 win is our only bet out of the bank of £400. And we do have to find a few more. I was impressed with Dysart Dynamo today, and of course by Bob Olinger. It really is a case in the Supreme of what's going to turn up, and it's really difficult to say what they will be. Will Mullins and Henderson run 2 of their best horses in a race where if all 4 ran, only one's going to win, and there's going to be 3 losers out of 4 potential superstars? If they split them up, how do they split them up, and how do they tell the owners that they want to go up 5 furlongs in distance? But that's what one of them's going to, well, one or both are going to have to do over the next 8 weeks. It's going to be an exciting 8 weeks. And this week we have the prospect of Shiskin against Energamine. I don't think it would happen, but if it does, I would just slightly favour Shiskin out of the 2. But I think it'll not happen until the Cheltenham Festival. So hopefully we do get that big clash. I'll be back to you next week to talk about it if we do. And if not, I hope you have a good week. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Bye for now.